welcome to another episode of Meanbrews. Today we're covering British Golden Ale. Let's get right into it. I found 18 British Golden Ale recipes, quite unique because this just came out in the 2015 BJCP, so wasn't expecting to find a lot of data, but I did find 18 recipes, 2 best of show, 9 gold, 4 silver, 2 bronze, and 1 award-winning recipe. The BJCP style is 12A, hop forward, average strength to moderately strong, pale, bitter. Drinkability and refreshing quality are critical components of the style. And when I looked at the 18 recipes, there's really not a lot of evolution. Pretty much to be expected because it's only been on the scene since around 2016 in competitions. For the style variation, a little bit of variety in the style, and I was not expecting to find what I found with this style of beer. For the original gravity, we had anywhere between 1.041 to 1.063, again on the high side within the BJCP range. The average was 1.050, and that's where my recipe will be. IBUs, again on the high side of the range, between 30 and 55, with an average of 41, and I will be 52. Not because the style is evolving, but mainly because I can't get it any lower than that with the hops that I'm adding. I think probably some of the calculations for some of the earlier recipes didn't include the Whirlpool IBUs or other IBUs. More than likely, this mean is higher than what they're showing in their recipes. For the color, we had one recipe out here, very dark for the style, but mostly within the range. On the high side, it's very difficult to achieve within this range, even with just base malts. The average was 5.6, and I will be a little bit above 4, so I'm going to try to keep it light. With the average malts for the recipes, 94.5% base malt, 2.7% crystal, 1.7% adjunct, and 1% toast. But we are seeing these recipes going to purely base malts. The blue curve is base malts over time. I didn't put any of the Pearsons, but they're all above 0.7, so very strong correlation to being 100% base malt, and the crystals are just dropping off. The distribution for if they use these malts, the base malts were anywhere between 83% to 100%. I'm going to be at 100%. Zooming in down here on these, the next most prominent was crystal malts, around 45% of the recipes, anywhere between 4 and 10% of the grist. Then we had adjuncts between 3 and 11% of the grist, an average of about 7. And then toast malts, again, 3 to 10, with an average of about 4 or 5%. I'm not going to use any of these. I'm just going to use base malts in my recipe. And speaking of the base malts, the most prominent was Maris Otter and Golden Promise, between 35 and 100% of the grist, with an average 72% of the recipes used Maris Otter or Golden Promise, at an average of 71%. Next most prominent was wheat. Half of the recipes used wheat malt, at an average of 11% of the grist. The next is American two-row. 39% of the recipes use two-row, at an average of 53% of the grist. I'm going to use all three, and the ratios I'm going to use is right at about a little bit above 50% Maris Otter, right at the mean 11% of wheat, and a little bit less than the range of two-row, right at about 37% two-row. Crystal malts, again, Care Pills, this is the most prominent at about right around 35% of the recipes using Care Pills. Anywhere, the sweet spot here is right around 5% of the grist. Light crystal and medium crystal also make up the remainder of the recipes. I won't be using any crystal malts in my recipe. There you go. Care Pills, 33% of the recipes at 4.8% of the grist. Toast malts, we had 3 used, Victory, Aromatic, and Special Roast. The most used was, I think in two of the recipes used a Victory or Biscuit malt. Again, I'm not going to use any toast malts in my recipe. Adjuncts, the most common was flaked oats, with an average of around 7% of the grist. 7 to 10% was the average here for adjuncts. I'm not going to use any adjuncts. Kind of making up for it with my wheat malt as a base malt. For the bittering hops, we had 11 different bittering hops used: Magnum, EKG, Mosaic, Citra. Starting to see some of the American hops in here. I am not going to use any bittering hops because I didn't need them to get the IBUs that I needed. We had 10 different flavor hops used: EKG, Amarillo, Citra, Cascade, and some others. A lot of American styles in there and British. I will be using Citra for my flavor hop. Quite a unique choice there, but that's what I'll be using. You'll see why. I want to make sure that the recipe just uses up all the hops that we're going to use later on. So foreshadowing what we're going to see later on. Aroma hops: Amarillo, Mosaic, Citra, First Gold. I don't like Amarillo, so I'm not going to recommend it. So I'm going to use Mosaic for an aroma hop. 11 Whirlpool hops used: Amarillo, Cascade, Mosaic, and Citra, and Azaka and Willamette. All majority of the more than 3/4 use these seven hops here. Mostly American, so the finishing hops are mostly American hops for this style. And I will be using Mosaic for my Whirlpool. For my dry hops, 6 different dry hops were used: Citra, Mosaic, Cascade, and some others. And I'll be using Citra and Mosaic for dry hops. Now for the rate of hop additions, 61% of the recipes used a flavor hop, which is the red curve, at an average rate of 0.23 ounce per gallon. 56% used aroma hops, which is the blue curve, at an average of 0.22 ounces per gallon. These are in 5-gallon batch, this is about 1 1/4 ounce. Next one is Whirlpool. 56% of the recipes used a Whirlpool hop at an average of 0.37 ounce per gallon, so a little bit higher Whirlpool hops. And dry hops, 39% of the recipes used a dry hop at an average of 0.35 ounces per gallon. So this is anywhere between 1 1/4 to 2 ounces at each addition in a 5-gallon batch. I'll be using all 4 of these. For my flavor hops, I'm going to be on the mean, 0.23. My aroma, I'm going to use the same, 0.23. My Whirlpool, using the average, 0.37. And a little low on the dry hops, just because I didn't want a fractional bag if you're ordering 1 ounce hops at a time. Looking at the flavor and aroma addition and the likelihood of using them, pretty much gone to every recipe is using both of these additions. So guarantees that a late finishing hops are critical to the style and being successful in competition. Mash type, we had 2 recipes with step mash. The majority were single infusion, and I'll be doing a single infusion for this style. Here are the rests. We had a protein rest at 130 for one recipe. The one did a beta rest at 148, but most did a alpha rest at 151 Fahrenheit or 66 Celsius for an average of 65 minutes. And I'll be doing that exact temperature, 151 Fahrenheit, for 60 minutes. Boil duration, again, 60 to 90 with a bias towards the 60. The average was 64, and I'll be doing a 1-hour boil. There were 11 different yeasts used. This is the most variation between the recipes, was the yeast. Most common was the whitbread yeast. 33% of the recipes used whitbread. The next most common are Fuller's and Chico, more than 50% of the recipes. And then a bunch of other yeast. 2 that I wanted to point out. There was one Kveik, Voskveik recipe, and one Sac-Trois, which is the which they thought was the Brett strain, but it's a diastatic Saccharomyces strain. You'll see when we look at the fermentation temperatures, probably the next slide, how these bias the curve, and I'll talk about that a little bit. I will be choosing the whitbread strain for my recipe. Water chemistry. The average was 61 for calcium, 9 magnesium, 28 sodium, 107 sulfate, 46 chloride. Not quite 3 to 1, more like 2.2 to 1. I'm going to be very close to the averages for the critical variables here. A little low on the sodium from the average. Fermentation temps, we had anything between 66 and 85. The Kveik one was here, and I believe the Sac-Trois was here, so it pushed this curve 3 degrees to the right. The average was 72 Fahrenheit or 22 Celsius, but I'm shooting for 68 because when I stripped out those two, that was the average. Couldn't take out the high-low because the 77 still biased it to the right, but when I looked at the traditional ale strains, 68 was the average there. So that's my fermentation temperature for this style. Other variables, average carbonation volume was 2.41 and average mash pH was 5.4. All right, on to the recipe. Recapping: 52% Maris Otter, 37% two-row, and 11% white wheat or red wheat. We're going to put in a flavor hop at 10 minutes with Citra at 0.23 ounce per gallon. At 0 minutes or flame out, we're going to put Mosaic in at 0.23 ounce per gallon. Then we're going to cool it down to 180 Fahrenheit and do a hop stand for 15 minutes with Mosaic at 0.36 ounce per gallon. And then after fermentation is complete, we're going to do a dry hop each of Citra and Mosaic at 0.15 ounce per gallon each. Also, the original gravity, I'm shooting for 1.050 and 52 IBUs. This is the water chemistry that I'm shooting for. I'm going to make sure my mash is at 5.4. I'm going to do an infusion mash at 151 Fahrenheit or 66 Celsius for 60 minutes. And I'm going to boil after I sparge for another 60 minutes. Chill it to around 66 Fahrenheit or 19 Celsius. And I'm going to do a 1 liter starter. I want to produce some of those esters. I think that's critical for the style. So I'm not a big starter. You could probably get away with a single pack too. This is such a low gravity beer of 109A to the Whitbread strain. Ferment it at 68 and then raise a little bit at the end. And when you have a stable gravity, add your dry hops and dry hop for 5 days. And we're going to force carbonate or bottle to 2.4 volumes of CO2. That's it for today's recipe. The next one up is going to be Schwarzbier. Not my favorite style, but again, going along the Patreon theme, following what the recommendations are from my patrons. Also, make sure you check out Bacchus and Barlycorn. They will have a kit of this recipe available for purchase. So check out their website. There'll be a link in the description if you're interested in purchasing this. See you next time. Bye-bye.